Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Vibe Show. My name is Vasil. I will be your host for today. And with us is a very historical and special guest, my friend from the University of Toronto, Jamsheed Mistry. Jamsheed, welcome.
Hi, Vasil. Hi,
Hello,
Vasil. Thank you so much for having me, buddy.
how are you doing?
So happy to be here. I'm doing very well. I'm just so happy to be here on the very first show of the Vibe Show with Vasil Burek, and no, I'm just so honored. This is a really historical moment, and I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Vasil. I feel great. With all this pandemic and stuff going on, I feel totally great. I feel so connected, even in person, because I have digital media and social media platforms where I can still stay connected with my friends, and this is a perfect example of that. So thank you for having me, Vasil, and I look very forward for this interview.
Beautiful. So, this is a series dedicated to university questions. Jamsheed and I, we have been going through all the hells of university together, through all the highs and lows. We're currently in fourth year. So, the first question I'd like to ask you is what university you go to and what program you study?
That's good, Vasil. I go to University of Toronto, and right now I'm a double major student in biology and environmental science. It isn't always like this, Vasil. When I started University of Toronto, and when I even met Vasil in my first year itself, I was really fixated on life sciences, and I really wanted to go into the medical field, and I set my heart on becoming a dentist. But I just, became very disillusioned with biology as I went through more biology courses and more life science courses, and I just kind of realized that in time, I realized that biology wasn't the right subject for me, and I started expanding my horizons, and I started looking to other courses, and I really found an environmental science course that I took in the summer of my second year. It was really interesting, and I ended up deciding to shift my focus on helping with fixing environmental issues as opposed to just biology and medical school and dentistry. I kind of grew apart from that, and I kind of shifted my focus into environmental science and um, diversity of species and preserving the nature of the environment. And I'm very happy with what I'm doing, and I love uh, I love learning about the environment and helping know, uh, helping keep the environment and the earth a green place.
Yeah, and just the way you talk about it, from your choice of words and the passion which I feel, and I'm sure everybody else feels in the audience, we are sure you're going to become a great environmentologist. Is that who you want to become?
Yes, that's why I want to become an environmental ecologist because honestly, I love like the environment. I mean, I'm not like, I'm not gonna like come up here and say that I don't eat meat and I'm a vegan or anything. I eat meat. I love like eating meat. At the same time, it's like I always try my best to have a very environmentally friendly mode of transportation. Like when I study in University of Toronto, I don't own a car or anything since I'm not from Canada. I'm actually from the United States, from San Jose, California, to be precise. And I I don't have a home in Canada. I'm just studying there to be a student, but I basically go to school every day by public transit. I go to the mall walking, and I carry my groceries just walking back home and things. And honestly, I love it. I love like being like environmentally friendly. It's like my mode of transportation. See, like no human being is ever like perfect. They will they will have a they'll have their own like goods and their bads. And for me, as an environmental ecologist, I strive to be as eco-friendly as possible, but at the same time, I don't let it change all aspects of my life. I maybe will change my transportation, change my way that I recycle and I dispose my personal waste, for example. I do a lot of consideration when I do dispose my waste. But at the same time, it's like I still eat meat. I still am, perfectly like fine with who I am as a person, even though I want to help preserve nature and things. I also want to advocate people to just be themselves and enjoy life to the fullest.
Yeah, that's great. Next time you see a Tesla bypass you on the highway going like 200 miles an hour, yeah, you
Exactly,
know who it is.
exactly. I totally, since I come from the like San Jose, California, it's within the Silicon Valley itself, and Silicon Valley
Yeah,
is the technology hub of the world.
at the center.
And I see Teslas every corner. I see a Tesla, and I used to love Teslas. I love cars in general, and I used to like be like so infatuated with Teslas that it was my dream car at one point. Then realized that the beauty about Tesla that I love is that all their cars are electronic and they run on electricity. And it's not like any cars like hybrid or like gas or something. Every single model runs on electricity, and it's beautiful. Like I feel that Tesla has done a great job, and I totally see like when like Teslas can go at such high speeds, they're so like beautiful to look at and things. It's just like it's definitely one of my goals in life is to definitely still own a Tesla. I really like those cars and love cars in general. I always talk with Vasil about our cars. Like Vasil really likes those, like Lamborghinis and Ferraris and those Italian cars. I like them as well, and it's really fun. It's a great hobby to have. Like I think cars are just the best thing ever, and I hope that in the future every single car will be electric and it better like maybe even run on solar energy and things like that. But we're definitely still years away from it and things from a revolution, such a big revolution because so many people in the world. I think like 95% of the people in the world own a car and at least one car in their families. And it's just really exciting to see, like that it'll be very hard to convert all of those cars to electric cars because most of the cars today run on gas. But I have a feeling in the future cars will be electric, and I think there might even be government laws to regulate it. I think it's the best way to do it, having the government on your side instead of having them lobby for the automobile industry.
Right, right, and yeah, it's definitely a big part of some challenges environmentology has yet to face, and who knows, maybe you will be the next Elon Musk, and I really look
Right,
forward to
right.
reading about you in the newspaper one day in the future. I don't know what the article will be about, but I'm sure it will be shaping the world for the better. Now, Jamsheed, speaking of the Silicon Valley, I've heard some rumors from some friend. Was it you? I don't know. That Apple is preferred over uh, Microsoft. Is that true?
Oh yes, big time, Master. Like honestly, like Apple is so widespread in the Silicon Valley. It's insane. Like honestly, Microsoft is still big. Like a lot of people, especially who want to code and things like that, who code websites, Python, C++, who do all this computer science. It's very hard to do computer science stuff on a MacBook as opposed to a Microsoft computer because MacBooks are more specialized. Microsoft is more applicable to it's more open to other applications, while Apple is more like confined to only Apple stuff. Like
Mhm.
I'll tell you, like I had a project in my statistics course this past semester with Vasil, and Vasil had to help me out. Like I couldn't even upload a single
That was the
CSV
best one.
file.
I love that one.
I couldn't do I just couldn't do it on my MacBook Pro because it's like I couldn't convert the CSV file to a Microsoft Excel file, and I had to ask Vasil to make a video a video tutorial. And honestly, there are certainly limitations with MacBooks for sure. At the same time, in a place like the Silicon Valley, where Apple has started. Like Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak started Apple in a garage, in their own garage,
Crazy.
in the 1970s and things. So honestly, it's crazy to see how far Apple has actually like gone, and it's become like one of the biggest companies in the world, starting from a garage, you know. And Apple is definitely one of the biggest like pride like companies of the Silicon Valley, and most of the people in the Silicon Valley, even including in high school, I saw people with iPhones. I saw most people with MacBook Pros and Apple products in general. But there are still a lot of people with Microsoft. As I said, you can do so much more. Like with Microsoft, it's more easily applicable to other applications. And but at the same time, it's just in a specific environment, in a specific location in the world. I feel that different products will be more more prevalent. Like if you go to Korea, for example, Korea Samsung, it's Samsung is a Korean company, and most people in Korea, I'm sure, will have like Samsung. Like even my TV is a Samsung, so I think that I guess there's also that pride when you have a product, when you make a product, when people from a certain place like the Silicon Valley, like for example with Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, when they create a product and they create a website, they create a whole company. I think it has that certain level of pride. People in the living proximity to that area will be able to appreciate and start using more. So you're absolutely right, Russell. But in Canada, I think it's a mix. I see both like 50% of people own like Windows and 50% own MacBooks. It's all just personal preference. Like I cannot remember, and I see like people having most people will now write their notes on computers and tablets and phones and things like that. But I'm still one of the old school people who uses pen and paper and never write my notes like this. It's a beautiful thing just to see like the diversity of like gadgets there are now. Honestly, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing, and I'm very happy because it's not nice to like it's not good to have a monopoly. I wouldn't be happy if Apple had a monopoly in the market, and I wouldn't be happy if Microsoft had a monopoly in the market. I'm happy that there's both like they both have a huge chunk of them of the technology industry and things. It's a beautiful thing to see these companies compete and see which people prefer different gadgets from different companies.
For sure, for sure. Thank you for sharing that. And, lesson to be learned if you want to go to the Silicon Valley, get a MacBook. You'll be stranded on
Exactly,
your own.
exactly. You'll definitely feel out of place. At least yeah, you will. You will. Honestly, I definitely do see a lot more MacBooks. Like even the computers in my high school. Usually, a computer lab and things will have like Windows computers and like desktops and things. But in my high school, it was all MacBook, like um, MacBook projectors and things. I think it was just very think very Appleized, which was very funny because I owned a Microsoft. I was part of like I owned a PC when I was in high school. I only switched to Apple when I went to university because I wanted to invest in a product that would last me a longer time. Like, and I feel that Apple products, like since they're very expensive, they're very overpriced and stuff, but I feel that their quality is very good, that they can last longer if than a PC, and don't need to like have to worry about extra viruses and malware and things like that if you own an Apple, because Apples are very specific only to Apple products, and the Apple store will be very, and the whole entire like yeah the Apple store will be like they'll just pretty much remove an app that contains a virus before it can even contaminate. So they're very good
Yeah,
like
that's
that. Like
good.
I used to try to download like Game Boy Advance emulators on my iPhone, and just took it down. Like after a month or something, the Apple Store like just took it down because like they found out that this is like an illegal like jailbreaking thing, and they took it down from all the iPhones that had it, including mine. So
Oh, what a
all my
pity,
game
man.
data was destroyed.
Well, yeah, I mean that's how it is in the app world. But speaking back to environmentology, since we're going to the end of the show, and we have one major question which we gotta answer, and that is for students going into university for their first year, and for students who want to pursue environmentology. What advice would you give? What would you say helped you the most as an undergrad?
That's a wonderful way to end this interview. Vas, I'm so happy you asked me this question because, in this coronavirus pandemic, I've been able to really reflect on my life and who I was when I started University of Toronto, and who I am as I'm looking forward to graduating. And I can only impart these words of wisdom to the future first year students and the future generations of University of Toronto. And it's just, don't be scared of change. And I just want to be very, very like I want to emphasize this point a lot because honestly, when I started University of Toronto, I had tunnel vision. It's like I wanted to go to medical school, I wanted to be a dentist, and every other field was useless in my opinion. And I also kind of took that attitude when I was studying for my earlier courses. Like in first year, I had to do introductory to chemistry courses. And I kind of took that attitude. I'm like, oh, chemistry is not important. Physics is not important. I used to just be like, oh, I used to have tunnel vision, and I only focused on biology. And kind of really regretted all this because I realized that there's so much more to life than just like trying to force something to happen. Like I was trying to force biology. I was trying to force medical school in my life. And I just didn't realize that it was not the right calling for me. And I was too stubborn at the time when I started university to change my majors and to look to a different subject. Uh, Over time, and as I kind of struggled a bit academic to cope with these harder upper year biology courses and things, I realized that what, I just don't have the passion. It's not that I'm doing poorly and I still love biology. It's just I don't have the passion that I once had for medical school. And I realized that at that point, I realized that a change was needed in my life. And I was really fortunate enough to take an environmental science course in my local community college when I was back in San Jose, California, last summer before the pandemic and before everything. And I was just able to really widen my horizons. And I'm so happy I took that first step forward in deciding to change, to look into other majors, to look in other fields. And I always was so passionate about environmental science. I would always recycle and compost the things that should be composted and should be recycled. I was always a fanatic for keeping keeping sure that I don't drive every day. I take public transit in University of Toronto. I walk in University of Toronto. I don't I don't really drive like in Canada since I don't live there. And I always try to use the most eco-friendly transportation methods. I've always done this, whether I wanted to be an whether I knew I wanted to be in environmental science or I was still in biology. But I was innately always very focused on keeping the environment clean. And honestly, I decided to change. I decided to change my fields in my third year itself, which is quite late, because usually people will go to university for 4 years and graduate and then go on to unless you're Vasil, Vasil will do medical school. You'll have a whole like decade. It's beautiful because Vasil has the commitment. Like when you go into medical school and things, you need that time, commitment, and just dedication to really help like people in the medical field. But for me, I realized I just didn't have that passion for dentistry that I once did. And although I still love to research and I still love to learn more about teeth, and I will always ask my dentists any questions that I have. It's just I realized that as a field and as a profession, it just wouldn't be the right field for me. And honestly, I'm very happy with environmental science. I'm very happy that I decided to change my specialist program in biology into a double major with biology and environmental science. And I just want to impart to the future students of University of Toronto that it's okay to change. It's okay to decide to choose to do something different if you realize that your true passion are not what they are not what they you originally thought they were. And it's okay to change. It's never too late to change. I changed majors in my third year, and I'm still going to graduate on time. So it's no problem at all to change. Don't worry. Like change is a good thing, and you need to have a balance in life. Always balance your academics with your social life, with your family life, and your happiness. All I can say to future students, and I hope you know my words will come and benefit you in the future.
Well, Jamsheed, I'm sure that all our listeners and all future students will definitely benefit and greatly benefit from the tips and advice you've provided us today. Would there be a chance that we could include your social media in the description for anybody to
Absolutely,
contact you?
Vasil.
Yeah?
Sounds
Wonderful.
great, buddy.
So, if you would like to contact Jamsheed, his social media profiles will be in the description of this video. But on this good note and fantastic note, I'd like to thank the future famous environmentologist Jamsheed Mistry. I really much thank you for being our first guest of this new Vibe show, and wish you all the best and only all the best with your future studies and career.
Thank you, Vasil. It's been my pleasure and my honor just to be on this show, and I'm very happy. Thank you so much for including me as a guest, and I'm very happy to have had this opportunity to share my experience and my story with the world. Thank you.
It's so great to hear. Well, in that case, we shall call it a day and see you soon.
Hey everyone, bye Vassal. Thank you, buddy.